So all the to-be parents, lend me your ears, because in the coming few months, you are going to witness numerous changes. If you are informed about these changes, you would be able to adapt better. There are going to be a lot of questions in your mind. I'm going to deal with 3 of them. First of all, why does my baby cry so much? Is my breast milk sufficient? And what do I do about the diaper rash? Let's get started with the crying thing. All right, let's just go off track and let me give you a task.
Sanniya, you'd like to show your slides as well? Could you move to the next slide?
Sure. Yep, the breastfeeding and the newborn care. Thank you so much, Mithila. So let me give you a task for today. For the 6 to 8 hours you are in your office, do not talk to anyone. Try remaining mute. It is going to be difficult, right? And for someone as talkative as I am, it is going to be next to impossible. So how can you expect your newborn to remain quiet? Crying is the only language the newborn has been gifted with. So let the crying be music to the ears of the parents. Whenever your baby cries, there is definitely a checklist you need to go through. Is my baby hungry? Is my baby wet? Now, the breastfeeding and the diaper care is going to be dealt with in greater details in the coming few minutes. Coming back to the checklist, third, most importantly, is my baby cold? What do I mean by that? Temperature regulation. From the back of your hand, you need to feel for the feet and the hands of the baby. If they appear cold, that means your baby is not comfortable with the temperature. You need to drape the baby in a better way. Especially if you're visiting the northern part of our country in these winter months, I recommend 3-layered clothing along with caps and mittens and socks. In fact, when the temperature drops even in Bangalore, you're coming.
Udaya, could you please mute yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks. Dr. Sanniya, go ahead.
Can you come here? Colder nights or in Bangalore, go ahead and drape your baby well. In fact, I would recommend at least 2-layered clothing. It is quite surprising to understand that a temperature, say 38 to 40 degrees Celsius, when we feel uncomfortable, rather we start sweating profusely, is the temperature considered pretty comfortable for your baby. Then, next on the checklist, is my baby secure? Now, there is a very special bond that gets created between the mother and the baby. And there are times when the baby needs to feel the presence of mother around. That is when this bonding and the love and care and affection of the mother helps in consoling the baby. What is next on the checklist? Just check out whether daddy is sitting on the arm of the baby. I don't think so. Daddies are not that careless. But it is very essential to understand no pillow, no toy, nothing of that sort which left unattended has the risk of suffocating your baby. The last on the checklist and most important, which most of the parents ignore, is my baby bored? Yeah, really? My baby needs entertainment? The baby has been lying in that same position for pretty few hours and you think you're going to forget about me? I don't think so, mommy and daddy. That is when the baby is going to cry. Now, this is a task that can be taken over by the father, the grandparents, the neighbors, anybody and everybody who wishes to play with the baby. Talk to the baby. You sing. You complain about your boss. You can discuss the milkman or even Modi Sarkar. The baby would always listen to you with curiosity. I do not know how much the baby understands, but would definitely listen attentively. Now, coming back to the breastfeeding, let me reinforce the fact again and again we have no two options about feeding the baby. Breastfeeding is the only option. Now, you are apprehensive about, or rather anxious, how do I start breastfeeding? Then research the place you're going to deliver the baby. Would you be provided with a lactation nurse, an expert who would be around you soon after the delivery of the baby to guide you, instruct you, and monitor you breastfeed the baby? So as long as you're in the hospital, the breastfeeding would get initiated and you would feel pretty confident about it. The problem arises when you are at home, away from the vicinity of the doctors and the nurses. That's when you get confused. My breast milk isn't sufficient, and that is the reason my baby is crying. Let me try out alternative feeds. Do not make these presumptions. There are two evidences that can give you the confidence that yes, your breast milk is sufficient. Go ahead and count the number of times your baby passes urine in 24 hours. If the breast milk is sufficient, the baby is required to pass at least 6 times urine in 24 hours. And after 2 weeks of age, the weight gain would give you a very strong evidence that you are breastfeeding perfectly normally. The weight gain would definitely be monitored by the pediatrician, and in case there is a discrepancy, intervention can be made. But without consulting your doctors, do not presume your breast milk is insufficient and switch over to other feeds. It's pretty simple. Count the number of times baby passes urine and the weight gain. There is another sign which is not applicable to everybody, but when you feed from one of your breasts, the other breast starts leaking. Again, this sign is seen in many women, but not all women. The other mistakes that mothers commit is, obviously, we are talking about proper position, proper latching, everything has been monitored by your nurse, and that is when you have been discharged from the hospital. What we are talking here is you need to feed your baby from both the breast at the time of feeding. Let me be more clear. There are mothers who feed from the right breast at say 10 o'clock in the morning, and at the next time of feed, say 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they use the left breast. That is absolutely wrong. At 10 o'clock in the morning, you start from the right breast, then continue on the left breast, and then at 2 o'clock, that is the next time when you have to feed, start from your left breast and then switch over to the right breast. In this way, we are assured of the fact that the breast keeps generating more and more milk and the baby consumes more and more milk. Do not time the period of breastfeeding. The moment the baby stops sucking on your breast is an indication that the feeding is done. Right? Now, moving on to the diaper care. Now, all the mathematicians in the audience, let's play a little math game. Let's see how much urine is your newborn going to produce. It's going to be 0.5 ml per kg per hour. Considering your baby weighs 3 kg, in 24 hours it would be close to, say, 35 ml, close to 7 teaspoonfuls of urine. Divided by 6, it's going to be on an average 1 teaspoonful of urine being passed each time. Is it a lot? I don't think so. For that 1 teaspoonful, you're going to keep your baby wet in those artificial diapers? Why? Prefer the cloth diapers. The moment that 1 teaspoonful of urine would wet the baby would cry and inform you, Mama, it's time to get me changed. And we would have the rash prevented. Also, the newborn is going to pass stools every time you're going to breastfeed the baby. So instead of changing those artificial diapers, change the cloth diapers. Once the diaper rash occurs, you will have to give nappy-free time. You will have to apply all those medications and ointments. And that would be way more problematic to both the baby as well as yourself. Why to get into that trouble? Prefer cloth diapers. I'm sure there are many people in the audience who are not liking what I'm saying, but try it out. Breast milk, no artificial diapers, and no television, laptops, mobile phones, iPads less than 2 years of age. And you would do great as a parent. All right? Now, I would rather have some questions come up from the audience before I start discussing the infants and the toddlers problems. So anybody else who would want any clarification, any convincing from my side as far as newborn care is concerned, I would welcome any opinion or question from the audience.
Any expectant mothers or so who have some questions for the doctor regarding breastfeeding and newborn care? Looks like Doctor, there are no questions for this topic. We could move to the next topic.
Sure. Thank you so much. That means I'm doing well if my audience doesn't have questions. Let's move forward. Now, talking about the feeding troubles. Before I move on,
please. Next slide, please.
Oh, sure. Oh, yes, so lovely. I find this a very common situation in most of the households. Now, it is going to be a task for the mothers. It is not going to be a very smooth ride. But let's try and make things simpler so that we face these kind of babies on lesser days of the week. All right? You need to get started very early. These days, we have the concept of introducing iron-fortified cereal in the age group of 4 to 6 months. What does that mean? It just means the cereals that you consume, you need to start feeding the baby as well. You can always go ahead, boil the rice, and the rice water, I'm not talking about the rice, it is the rice water or the dal water that can be given to your baby from 4 to 6 months of age in addition to the breast milk. When you get started, make the introduction of the feeds very gradual. Say 1 teaspoonful today. Make it 1 teaspoonful 2 times a day. Then gradually increase it to 3 times a day. The changes are so small in quantity and so small efforts would be required on your part that the baby would start adapting to this kind of feeding rather than rebel it. Once you have achieved the teaspoonfuls, now start increasing the frequency of the teaspoons. Switch over to a and then half a katori, gradually increasing it to 3/4 a katori. Our ultimate goal is to achieve 1 whole katori of khichdi given 3 times a day by 1 year of age. Our goal is that by 1 year of age, the baby should start eating from the home kitchen. The kitchen that prepares meals for the rest of the members of the family should be the meal that 1-year-old baby should be eating. Now, so gradually increase the quantity. What about the quality of the food? From soupy, it has to be increased to paste-like. So once we introduce rice water, dal water, we can also have vegetable soup, but it has to be completely strained. We do not want any particulate matter coming in that soup. It has to be clear for a baby between 4 to 6 months. We can also have chicken stock, but later on. The chickens, most of the households that are vegetarian, they're completely fine with it. But if you want to introduce chicken stock, absolutely clear. No chicken particulates should be present in that soup. Beyond 6 months of age, we can now introduce something that is paste-like. So we can always boil the dal and the rice together, mash them properly and start feeding. We can mash the banana, we can mash the boiled potato. Initially, we are going to give extremely bland food to the baby because we do not know they like sugar or salt. So let's start with bland diet. Then gradually you can add a little bit amount of sugar or later on salt. But it again depends on what your baby likes. If your baby likes something salty, do not keep insisting on feeding something sweet to the baby and vice versa. Suji ka halwa is a very, very nutritious and a very tasty thing to be given to the babies. Now, so this was the list of the things that you can introduce as a feed. The mistakes that are committed by the parents is introduction of Cerelac. If you are given pizza every day, would you like to switch over to dal chawal? I don't think so. Same is for the baby. You have continuously fed them with that ideal diet of Cerelac for the past 6 months, and now you expect the baby to eat dal chawal from your kitchen at 1 year of age? That is being very harsh on your child. Let the Cerelac be a reward when you have the baby behaving at the best. All right? Not everyday meal. So, we have talked about the quantity, we have talked about the quality, and the list of the things that you can feed. The thing is, always have healthy feeding habits in your family. You need to allot a chair to the baby. The moment you place the baby on that chair, the message has to be loud and clear that baby, now it is the feeding time. The feeding time is not to be confused with playful time or nappy time or entertainment time. Feeding time is very important and it is only meant for you and the food. It is definitely to establish a better bond between the caretaker and the baby. So we have talked about the chair. The other thing is you should know what elevates the mood of your baby. Is it by placing the chair near the balcony or near the window with a beautiful scene of the trees and the birds chirping? If that is the case, go ahead, do it. Keep your baby in the best of the mood before you start feeding. But gradually, this habit has to get changed and the baby has to understand the importance of a dining table. Make sure your entire family dines together to give this concept to the baby. 1 teaspoon can be fed by the mother, the other by the father, the other by the grandparents. So the entire exercise becomes playful, becomes energetic, and the baby starts enjoying it. You can always sing their favorite songs to have them fed, but do not use television, laptops, mobile phones for feeding or entertainment. You are their favorite channel. Mommy channel is the best channel the baby can have. So go ahead, sing and dance and laugh. Do whatever it takes to feed your baby. Now, my baby just ate 2 teaspoonfuls of khichdi, but what do? The baby refuses to have the 3rd teaspoon. Not a problem. Just skip feeding for the time being. Try again after 1 hour or 2 hours. When the quantity of food consumed by the baby is less, you will have to increase the frequency of feeding the baby. Then, It's been 1 week. I cannot increase the meal from half a katori khichdi. What do I do? Your baby is smart. You just need to get smarter. Add 1 teaspoonful of ghee to that khichdi. So maybe the quantity of consumption is less, the calorie intake is more. Use all your recipes to make your baby's favorite dish energy dense. That means you need to increase those calories. It's 8 months. My baby prefers to pick up the finger food, the chapati, refuses to eat the rice. What do I do? Make a parantha out of that chapati. Add lots of ghee to it. Or you can later on add vegetables to it. So this is all that I have. It's all theoretical. I know when it comes to being practical, it is way more tougher. But the mistakes that you commit is introducing artificial feeds, no kurkure, no chips, no junk food. At least till you have control over your baby, just have control over the junk food. In fact, the junk food of the entire family gets stopped so that the baby doesn't ask for a slice of pizza. All right? Going ahead with the potty training. Now, it is a very essential part of the development.
Dr. Sanniya, I think there will be some questions for fussy eater. I'm sure there are many mothers concerned about their child's eating habits. I'd like to open the floor for certain questions. Is there anyone who has certain questions on this topic for Doctor? Doctor, I have one of the questions is that how can I encourage my child to self-feed? And at what age? Today when I offer, he insists on self-feeding and said, but messes around the whole thing. So how can we deal with the situation where things are much sorted and much easier for me?
Again, I said, observe your baby, enjoy the learning curve. The pediatricians give a gap of 6 months, starting from the handling of the spoon to self-feeding. We do not bother how much of mess the babies create. So by 18 months, the baby starts handling the spoon, and by 24 months, that is 2 years of age, we have successful self-feeding achieved. So between these months, the middle 6 months, oh yes, you need to get on the floor and start cleaning whenever your baby is messy. All right, so all the best with your baby. But having said that, 18 months to 24 months is a very crucial age, especially when it comes to the self-feeding or even potty training. It is now the time that the baby starts understanding how you are handling him or her. You need to give decision-making, an authority to the baby. It might sound crazy, come on, 18-month-old and I need to give them authority? Just pretend it. You need to ask them, okay, what would you like to wear today? Yellow socks or blue socks? They have no clue what yellow or blue means, but they would probably point it out, what they want to wear, and go ahead and make them wear what they want to. Similarly, when it comes to feeding, ask them, what would you like to eat? Let them answer anything. I'm sorry. I'll just get back to, there was a question. Let them eat anything, but you would at least give them or pretend to give them an authority. All right, coming back to the question, Mithila, what was the question?
What are the possible finger foods, and can biscuits like Mary, wheat, ragi base be fed to a 1-year-old young?
Okay. Yeah, again, biscuits is I want you to use it as a reward. You had, the baby has done something really superlative, you want to reward the baby, go ahead, give that biscuit. But biscuits again should not be the main source of nourishment for the baby. The baby has been good, did not cry today for a pretty long time, and you are off to the office, go ahead, reward the baby with the biscuit. The content of the biscuit really doesn't matter if it is maida or ragi or wheat, as long as it is just 1, 2 or 3, not the whole packet. So yeah, and if the baby likes the biscuit, you can always introduce it with some amount of milk. We just want to make more nutritious. So if you add milk to the biscuits, it would be better to feed them because it is biscuit. They would relish it, but because there is milk in it, we will be content of the nourishment as well. Again, there is one concept that is we do not introduce cow's milk less than 12 months of age. All right, it causes iron deficiency anemia, but if you have a baby who eats 2 biscuits dipped in milk and enjoys it, so don't be very strict about it. If babies like chablon ki kheer, that is the rice pudding we make out of it, go ahead and feed them. Do not feel hesitant about that. No, I have to introduce only after 12 months this milk, because as long as the nourishment, the calories are going into the baby, we are just fine with it. All right. So finger food is by 8 months of age, and anything and everything that comes, can be held within the fingers is recommended. But yes, again, nuts, grapes, anything that we think the size can cause choking, we avoid those substances. All right. So let me go forward with it.
Yeah, I have a question here.
Yeah.
My baby has 3 times in a day, and also she's very active, but she doesn't gain weight much. So what could be the reason? Because she's quite active.
Okay. That doesn't weight, weight gain, we have certain very parameters to measure. Is it a weight gain told by the doctor, or is it according to you?
No. By the doctor, I think we go every 3 months for a checkup. So.
Okay. So say what was her birth weight?
Birth weight was 3.1.
Okay. And how old is she now?
Now she is 1.2 years.
Okay, 1.2. Okay. Did she achieve, say, 9 kgs by 1 year of age?
She was 7.8.
All right. Okay. Then here we need intervention, definitely.
Okay.
So we'll have to work up on her entire diet as to one entire katori of what are you feeding?
Rice.
Rice and?
Yeah. Rava, like ragi, all of them.
Okay. Okay. So rava is sugar based?
Rava, no, the normal suji what we have.
So you add sugar and ghee and make proper halwa out of it? What do you do?
Not, I don't add sugar. Maybe with water and salt. Maybe I cook it with that.
Okay. All right. So what we can go ahead and do is we can increase the calories that are going in just single katori. If you are feeding them with rice, make it less watery now. It should have more of rice. All right.
Okay.
We can add ghee onto it. Do not hesitate in adding 1 entire teaspoon or sometimes tablespoon to 1 entire katori of rice. It has to be minimum water, maximum rice. All right.
Yeah.
The other is the rava based on salt. I really don't think so. Is anything comparison with rava cooked in ghee with sugar? It would add up to the calories. So the baby would continue to consume 1 katori, but the suji ka halwa, because of ghee and sugar, would contain far more calories than what you are preparing with the salt. All right.
Yeah.
So here you will have to experiment with your own recipes. As I said, you will have to see if your baby is consuming the entire 1 katori. It is commendable on your part. Now, what your job is to just increase the calories of what is going into that 1 katori. All right. So are you non-vegetarian or vegetarian?
Non-veg.
Non-veg, all right. We do not recommend introduction of eggs because we are scared of egg allergies. But if there are no egg allergies in your family and you can go ahead and feed your baby egg, I think egg would also do wonders with your baby. All right. And the cow's milk, have you introduced that?
Yes.
Okay, so you will have to keep a check on the amount of the cow's milk because that again, if crossed, a permitted value can cause anemia in the babies and affect the weight gain. So just talk to your pediatrician, and entire diet chart has to be worked up here. All right?
Yes.
So hope this helps you out.
Thank you.
Doctor, I have okay, Shani, go ahead, please.
Oh, thanks. Okay, doctor, my question is, if we give too many options to the baby at such an early age, won't we end up spoiling them?
Right, we are not giving them so many options. One option would exist 3 to 5 days. All right. So the next thing that whenever you're going to change the dish, it is only after 5 days.
No, I mean, it's not only pertaining to the food, also like you said about socks or what they are wearing. So,
Okay, all right. See, it's just a sense of authority being given to them. It is not giving them options or stuff like that. It is just that they have to be in control of what is happening around them. It is just that you have to pretend. It's not necessarily you're giving them options. You're just pretending a game with them. Especially this I wanted to insist because when you go for, say, shopping, what would you want to wear? Come on, the baby is just going to think and maybe not respond, but would like the fact that you have given that authority. So it's not about options, it is just about a sense of authority being given to them. And that to 18 months is way too younger age, but you can always get started. Yeah.
okay. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Doctor, I have a question. How much should be the quantity of a cow's milk being given after 1 year? What should be the quantity given?
See, again, here we have, well, that's a difficult question, Mithila. I'll have to check my records for it. But what is more essential is that when the cow's milk get introduced beyond 1 year of age, it shouldn't cross 60 oz is what I can recall. But that is again a quantity which usually doesn't get surpassed in most of the households. But there are certain parents who consider feeding milk far more superior than rice or any other cereal. I just want to discourage that practice. I want to encourage people to go ahead and feed their babies rice, cereals of any kind, sugar-based substances, ghee-based substances, because at the end of the day, we want carbohydrates and fats forming the major part of the diet and a small portion being formed by the proteins. All right?
In the interest of time, we'll move to the next topic.
I have one more question. Yeah. I lost that somewhere down the screen.
What? Doctor, let's move to the next topic. We'll have question answers later in the last if we have some time later left.
Yeah, so let's get started with the potty training. With potty
Next
training,
slide, please. Next slide.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Then comes the potty training.
Baby's language development. Yeah.
You would want to discuss the baby language first? All right. First of all, we need to understand what the normal milestones are. A 4-month-old baby laughs out loud, loves cooing. And then comes 6 to 8 months old baby who loves saying mama, tata. And then comes a 9-month-old who loves saying no or bye-bye. And then the process of language development is so gradual that from 12 to 18 months, it is almost a total of 10 words the baby can speak. And at 24 months of age, the baby has almost 100 words in their vocabulary, which they can use to form 2 to 3 word sentences. Now here again, if your baby has met up with these milestones, sit back and relax. If not, talk to your pediatrician because early intervention in speech delay has given fruitful results. Now, when it comes to, comparisons, oh my God, his baby speaks 15 words. My baby just speaks 10 words. Why? Stop comparing your babies. Your baby is not comparing you to Aradhya Bachchan's mom. For the baby, you mean the world. So the baby needs to mean the world to you. All right? There are certain ways in which we can make the interactions with the baby better. Again, I cannot insist enough, no television less than 2 years of age. Let the baby learn all the words from you, all the mannerisms from you. The more you talk to the baby, the more you sing and dance and laugh with the baby, the more the baby learns. All right? So, anything else? Or I can move towards potty training.
I'd like to open the floor for questions on baby's language development. Is there anyone in the participants who has any concerns on the language development or any questions for the pediatrician here? Can post in the chat those questions if anyone has, or can unmute and ask those questions. Is there any concern regarding baby's language development?
Hi, I have a question here.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, so my baby is 2.5 years. She just now started framing sentences, but it is not complete sentence. So she just uses two random words and she just frames sentences. Is there anything for me to worry about right now?
Are they meaningful? They convey some meaning to you, whatever the baby wants?
Yeah, I can make out the meaning.
Oh, yes, definitely. You're on the right track. By 4 years of age, your baby would be narrating stories. Don't worry.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else in the participants who has questions for doctor?
Mitla, I just want you to check the chat box that during feeding, is there a question that I left out?
No, doctor. There was no question that we left out. We'll open the floor for more questions if we have some time left. Let's move over to the toilet training now. The next slide, please.
I'm sorry about the slide. Oh, yes, the potty training. Now, why I was so emphasizing on potty training? Because there are certain psychiatrists or child psychologists who attribute everything to the potty. It's weird, right? What happens is that if you make a huge deal about potty, it is said that the baby would continue to make a huge deal about everything during the adult life. I do not know how true it is, but it is significant to understand that it can attribute to something in the adult life. So we need to be very careful. When do I start potty training? Again, observe your child. The child would let you know. There are certain signs that you need to see. But there are two things that I would recommend so that those signs are quite evident from those 18 to 24 months of age. There are two practices that you should introduce when the baby is very, very young. Those are always change the diaper of the baby by going to the bathroom. By this practice, now when should I begin this practice? As early as possible, say 4 months, say 6 months, whenever it is convenient for you. Because the longer the duration, the better the baby would be able to associate a filthy diaper to the bathroom or the toilet. The second practice is whenever you clean the baby, say out loud, pee-pee, potty. In this way, the baby would start associating these words with the filthy diaper. So, by 18 months or later, whenever the baby feels the need to give those signals, maybe he or she will point out towards the bathroom or pull you towards the bathroom or say out the words like pee-pee and potty out loud to tell you that, Mama, I am ready to be potty trained. All right? So once these signs are evident, you can begin potty training. Here comes the actual authority that I was talking about. You just have to pretend. You need not go about whatever the child demands, but you pretend. Then you go shopping for the potty. Come on, baby. What would you like to buy? Whatever the baby points out. Let's say a pink or a blue colored one. Purchase it. When you are going to purchase the panties, ask the baby, what would you want? In this way, the baby would understand, okay, there's something different in which Mama is handling with me. The baby would tend to develop an interest in this. Would be interested, okay, let's see what Mama is up to and then I can do my wonders. All right? The other thing is, again, there are certain things to remember when you're potty training. Two very important mistakes that people do. Do not place the potty in any other room. Not in the drawing room, not in the bedroom. It has to be placed only in the bathroom. All right? Second thing, whenever this training is happening, you need to accompany your baby during potty, cleaning, and hand washing. During this entire procedure, you are not supposed to leave the bathroom. Say somebody knocks on the door, you leave the bathroom to attend the door or the phone. This gives a message to the baby that it is okay to stand up and leave the bathroom in the middle of the business. And this is the message that we do not want to be conveyed to the baby. All right? Now, the other thing is, the accidents are going to happen when you're potty training. Be prepared for it. If your areas are carpeted, just remove them off. Do not associate potty with anxiousness. Do not yell at your baby. Do not get upset with the baby in case these accidents occur. Yes, you need to make it very clear. Ask the baby, where should the potty go? And the baby would say, into the potty or into the bathroom. That's it. There's nothing else that you need to do. Whenever the baby pees or potties correctly, celebrate it. Reward the baby. It can be in the form of a toy, a candy, but my favorite is the potty dance and the potty song. Invent a song and a dance for your baby. And every time the baby pees or potties correctly, celebrate it. This would reinforce this kind of behavior with your baby. And again, all these tasks, be it potty training or feeding, you will have to make them enjoyable, energetic, and playful. So keep up the smile on your face whenever you are around the child. Keep singing, keep dancing, keep laughing, and enjoy your parenting. All right? Now, I am open to all the questions right now. Go ahead.
Next slide, please. Any questions related to any of the specific concerns any participant would like to discuss?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. My son, he's 2.4 years old, and sometimes he's not completely potty trained. But there are times when he shows the bathroom and says he wants to go there. But it is not a regular practice. So what can be done to make it a regular practice? And is it okay if it does it like, if he does it occasionally or something like that? Is that normal?
See, again, the baby is showing all the signs, is pointing towards the bathroom. What is important is that the behavior you want has to be reinforced. When I say reinforced, is that you will have to show something that the baby feels encouraged to do that kind of behavior again and again. Your baby has shown signs of pointing towards the bathroom, and that means everything so far is going okay. What you need to do is, again, as I said, oh, potty jana hai, come on, hum potty jayenge. And then you encourage, and during that entire process, you are there with the baby. And then once the baby has, given those signs of going to the bathroom, you need to reward the baby. Now, whatever your baby likes watching a cartoon, I am okay with allowing them 30 minutes of cartoon if they have successfully potty trained and they are beyond 2 years of age. All right. So you have to find out the positive reinforcements, the way to reward your child every time your child points towards the bathroom. Okay. So more and more the baby would start getting the rewards, the more and more the baby would want to, point out to the bathroom whenever he or she feels like going. So now it is your job to increase this kind of behavior.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Sure.
Next question, please. Anyone? Doctor, my son refuses to sit on the pot. Now, how do I associate him to sit on the pot, and do I change the equipment and try, or how do I
Yes,
how do I relate to the fact that he sits on the pot and does it?
the baby has to be interested. The potty shopping has to involve the baby. The baby said, "This one I have to buy," you will have to buy that one. Okay? And then, there have to be certain tricks that you have to play to make that process within the bathroom a little more interesting. Say, as long as the baby is sitting on the pot, narrate a story to the baby. "Pata hai aaj kya hua? Aaj Lulu Baba aaya tha." You will have to engage the baby all throughout the baby sitting on the pot. All right? I did say you are not supposed to be leaving the bathroom in the middle of the business, but even to have, the babies are so energetic, it is very difficult to restrict them to a particular place. So you will have to, we cannot introduce crayons or toys in the bathroom, so that is also not recommended. It is not hygienic. But yeah, you will have to go and narrate it to them. Come on, let's keep sitting. Pata Lulu Baba ne fir kya kiya? So yeah, I would definitely have that, something that interests your baby. You will, first of all, the potty has to be very interesting, something selected by the baby. And then during that process, you have to create something very interesting that the baby remains seated on the potty.
Thanks, doctor. Any more concerns apart from these topics? Any sleeping concerns? Any sleeping concerns for the mothers out here, for their babies?
I couldn't read
the question here. Let me read that out. Can you throw some light on playthings, ideas that can be introduced for a 1-year young?
Okay, for a 1-year-old. For a 1-year-old, let me say that, I do not know what is actually available in the market, and I would rather recommend anything and everything that is safe for the baby. But a simple ball game or simple block game is very, very amusing for the baby. Anything that produces sound is very amusing to the baby. At 1 year of age, during that duration, the babies have a tendency of putting anything and everything into the mouth. These days, we discourage those small, tiny toys that we have the risk of choking. So they have to be nice, big in size with whatever the baby is playing, so that we are assured of the fact that things are safe. So otherwise, anything involving the balls would start moving around. Anything that produces sound is very amusing. Anything that is with bright, full colors is very amusing. And yeah, that's it. Again, I said anything and everything available in the market, you can go ahead as long as they are safe. When I say safe, they should not be accident prone. No risk of choking or electrically played. I would strongly not recommend those. Yeah, and even if they run on cells, the cells have to be nicely, hidden, not from the access of the baby. Yeah.
Doctor, we had another question. What age a baby should walk?
All right. See, again, this process is very, very gradual. We call them the motor milestones. So let me start with a 3-month-old baby who starts holding the neck properly. So you obviously come to know when you're holding the baby. Then by 6 months of age, the baby starts sitting with support, gradually sits by themselves. And then by, say, 9 months, they start crawling. And after that, we give a duration of, again, 12 to 18 months. Now, this is the duration in which the baby would, previously from 9 to 12 months, they would stand with support, then stand without support. But after 12 to 18 months is the duration when they start walking with support, till walking independently, till running around. So again, we are giving a whole lot of 12 to 18 months of duration to keep monitoring. If your baby has begun to crawl, we are assured of the fact that they would start standing with support in the coming 1 or 2 months. So again, the process is so gradual that you need not get anxious at the present moment. If your baby has shown absolutely normal neck holding, sitting with support, sitting without support, and crawling, absolutely normal. So we are expecting in the coming few months, that is again 12 months, it can be 14 months, no need to get anxious. If your baby has shown all the normal features so far, we are expecting the baby is going to start walking independently anywhere between 12 to 18 months.
There's another question, doctor. With the climatic moves at this juncture, how to tackle cold, running nose, congestion in babies? Are antibiotics advised? And is there any flu vaccination that can be given?
All right. Yes, a very, very good question. Especially in the climatic conditions of Bangalore, I do not know the reason, but the upper respiratory tract infections are very, very prevalent in Bangalore. What actually happens is that mostly, I say maximum majority, it is viral infections. Now, there are certain signs that are used to distinguish between the viral and the bacterial one. A bacterial infection baby is very, very sick. Now, the baby would be so sick in the very first day that you would definitely feel something's wrong and you need to rush to the doctor. Would be running high-grade fever. High-grade fever, I say something above 100, can reach up to 102. But that can occur in viral fever as well. But a viral fever baby would be eating normally, would be playing normally, but would have running nose and fever. So you will not, viral fever, parents get apprehensive on the third day, when the fever doesn't go. That is the last day of fever, so we are not bothered then. But a bacterial infection, parents are bothering on the very first day because the baby is not playing today, is not feeding, running high-grade fever. I do not know what to do. So that again is a very this thing. With viral infections being very, very prevalent, the baby would be absolutely fine, would continue to feed, would continue to play, but would run high-grade fever at least from 1 to 3 days. Right? So they're very, very common. But again, what happens is that the more the adults in the house, if they are asthmatic or they are very much prone to infections, how can you safeguard the baby? The baby is breathing in the same environment. So if you are asthmatic yourself, make sure you take your medications. The more infections you would bring into the house, the more liability is that the baby is going to suffer from these kind of viral infections. The other thing is that now the antibiotics are recommended, again, I would say the very first day the baby is extremely sick, you needed to rush to the doctor. The doctors are intelligent enough to distinguish between the viral and the bacterial one. If they consider it to be bacterial, they would definitely go ahead and put you on the antibiotics, right? So, but the viral babies are not that sick appearing. So, yeah, we can very easily distinguish. If you are confused, go ahead, talk to your pediatrician. Then comes the flu shots. Again, why flu shots are very important for the children? The children's immunity is being building right now. We are not assured of the fact that their immunity is very, very strong and they can safeguard themselves from these H1N1. Adults like us who are well-fed, non-diabetic, non-alcoholic, our liver, kidneys fine, maybe we would not bother about the flu shots. But because the immunity is still being built up in children, I would recommend the annual flu shots being given to them. Because as such, if a person gets flu, it is not that dangerous. But if your immunity is not built up, that flu makes you prone to a very difficult to treat bacterial pneumonia. All right. So I am scared of that bacterial pneumonia, and to have that prevented, if it means a shot, go ahead, take it.
Dr. we're really wrapping up the Q&A. We are running out of time already. There's a last question from a lady named Navya R. She says her kid has a habit of sucking on finger during sleeping, and she does not remove it. Is that fine? She's tried stopping it, but she's not had any success. She's 2-year-old now, and she has had this habit since 4 months. She was 4 months.
Absolutely fine. No need to be apprehensive about it. It comes and goes off gradually. The more you would keep making the baby conscious of this habit, the more problematic it would be. Keep ignoring it. All right? It would gradually go off, say, 3 years of age. It's going to be very gradual, but it would go off. If it doesn't, you can definitely go and talk to your pediatrician. But the more and more you would keep talking about this behavior, and say 2-year-old child is mature enough to understand you're talking about me, mama. So yeah, stop talking about it, keep ignoring it, and it would just wade off.
There was another question, last question that I'm Harini, how do you train your kid in brushing her own teeth? That's a very nice question. I think you can answer that, doctor. How do you train your kid in brushing her own teeth?
See, again, the principles are the same. Give them a sense of authority. Let them choose their toothbrush. And so once they find a toothbrush amusing enough, they would want to use it. And then the babies love to admire themselves in front of the mirror. Introduce that stool. Let the baby stand up and see themselves in the front of mirror. And make it again extremely playful. Have a song invented, have a dance invented whenever you have to brush. Again, if the baby sees the parents brushing, they get encouraged. So when daddy brushes, the baby brushes. So you can always have this kind of exercise. It can be mama brushes, daddy brushes, and the baby brushes. And you can always applaud everybody whenever you do a successful brushing. Okay? Initially, you will have to hold the baby's hand and go, first it goes right, then it goes left, then it goes up. So you understand how playful and how interactive you have to make this entire session. This applies to anything and everything you want to achieve as a parent. All right?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, doctor. I think most of the concerns and the queries would have answered. Do you have your last thoughts, please? Please send across to the participants.
Sure, it's been a wonderful team, very good questions being asked, and thank you so much. I would love to have your feedback. Give it to Mithila in case there are any other questions that probably we didn't have time to answer. Go ahead, take my email ID from Mithila and just write down TCS in your subject so that I can answer all your questions in a better way. Thank you so much. And again, keep singing, laughing, and dancing, and happy parenting. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, doctor.
Mithila?
They're all thanking you, doctor.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, doctor.